Every so often, Pokemon releases these level 2 ready to use and battle play Pokemon decks, often known as Battle League decks, and this time they're called Mega Battle decks because we got some Mega Pokemon that we are debuting Mega Gengar and Mega Diancie EX. Both of them are making their debut in these battle decks, coming out very shortly this week, actually, on October 24th. They will not be legal for play until Phantasmal Flames is legal for play. However, today we're going to take a look at these decks. We're going to look at the Mega Gengar deck in today's video and talk about how we can take this deck, how competitively viable it is off the rip, what cards you get in it, and how we can take this and make it into a competitively viable deck, and for how little effort you can do this. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content, please like and subscribe. I'm taking this deck and making it into a competitively tournament-ready deck. So you guys can see here that these Mega Battle decks are coming out on October 24th for $14.99 each. Now I know that there's a lot of gripes behind finding product and stuff, so you might not be able to find this product for $14.99. But obviously try not to overpay if you can. A lot of the time, this product will have cards that are worth significantly more than $14.99 for competitive players specifically. For collectors and stuff, not so much. We saw the Marnie deck, we saw the Steven deck have these like exclusive promos. There is a Haunter in here that may hike up the price a little bit, so be wary of that, I guess. But for the time being, hopefully that doesn't impact things too much right now. You get a cool little coin too if you like Gengar, if you guys are Gengar fans. But this is what the deck list looks like. You see the whole like mat and everything, the little illustration. So we're gonna zoom in here on the deck list part itself. I can't zoom any further than that. So we're gonna zoom in here. You can see we've got a 4-2-2 Mega Gengar line. And what that means is we have 4 Ghastly, 2 Haunter, and 2 Mega Gengar. Now, Mega Gengar is uniquely positioned as a support Pokemon. Now, Mega Gengar has the shadowy concealment ability. If one of your Dark type Pokemon is knocked out from damage from an attack from your Pokemon's opponent's Pokemon EX, that player takes 1 fewer price card. So basically, Mega Gengar isn't necessarily the attacker of your deck, but the backbone preceding all of your Dark type Pokemon to be taking less damage or like giving up less prize cards. So your 2 prize EX Pokemon only give up 1, your Mega Pokemon only give up 2, and let's just say you've got a support guy on your bench, like maybe this little Toxtricity. That just becomes a free 0 prize card guy. So it's a very cool support Pokemon, so you never really need more than 2 of this stage 2 Pokemon. Now, it also comes with a 2-2 Toxtricity line. This Toxtricity line has Sinister Surge. Basically, you can get, once during your turn, you can look through your deck, get a Dark Energy attached to one of your Dark Pokemon, and put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. A lot of the time, Dark Pokemon are negligible for that kind of damage because Monkey Dory uses Dark Energy, and you can move damage back to your opponent's side of the board pretty easily. There's copies of Sableye, Seviper, and Eternatus as these 1 prize attackers that are just kind of nestled into this deck. Now, these cards are relatively going to be bulk. They're not really going to make it out of the binder. The Seviper could potentially see play, but everything else here is probably just going to be sitting in your bulk box. You're not going to use it. But you got to put some bad in with the good. You can't just make the deck super broken, or everyone would buy these decks. You know what I'm saying? Now, the trainer cards is where the bulk of the good stuff comes in. There is a couple of cards that are pretty much core in every Pokemon TCG deck right now. Lily's Determination being one of the primary ones. Lily's Determination is a 4 of in most decks, if not 3 of at least. And Lily's is a like $1.50 to $2 card. And so you're basically getting $8 in value right here in these Lily's Determinations. Like barring the Haunter Pro and all that stuff. This is just $8 of value, just immediately being put into this, and you can use this in every other competitive Pokemon TCG deck that you play. So that means that if you choose to play a different deck, not just Gengar, let's say you want to play Charizard one day, let's say you want to play Gardevoir one day, these 4 Lily's Determinations can just be taken out of those sleeves and put into the new sleeves, and you have the 4 copies that you need. There's 2 copies of Arven. Now, not every list plays only 2. Some lists play more, some lists play less, but Arven is such a stable supporter in the Pokemon TCG. It's another incredible addition to this battle deck that makes it easier for players to access. So the supporter core just here and the items is such a good bulk of the competitively viable cards. Boss's Order as a 2 of is incredibly good. You want to have boss in pretty much every deck. There's like between 1 copy and like 3 copies in most decks. So having 2 copies basically puts you in that sweet spot where like whatever deck you play, you could use your 2. You don't really need that 3rd, but if you ever want to upgrade and get that 3rd, you can just pick that up and call it a day. There's 1 copy of Dawn, which is very unique because it gets you a basic stage 1 and a stage 2. This card's potential has yet to be explored, but I do firmly believe that this card will be good down the line. As a one-of copy, it might not be the best, but I think that you at least having one in your back pocket can help you out. Grimsley's move is a very unique supporter, looking at the top 7 and putting a Dark type Pokemon into play. Now that card, I don't know if it's really good, but it is something that synergizes quite well with the Gengar deck, considering that everything in the deck is Dark type Pokemon. So it's something that is unique to this deck, and let's just say it does see play. You've got a copy. Now there's only 1 copy of Iono, which is a little bit underwhelming, but there is like lilies and stuff, right? So we can't complain, like like oh my god, my steak is too juicy, my lobster's too buttery. Like I only get 1 Iono in this deck of 4 Lily's Determinations. But the Iono itself is one of those things where you have one copy of it now, so you have the option to use this in this theme deck specifically. And if you want to buy more Ionos to just, bolster up your collection, you just got to get 3 more. It is one of those cards. Now, as far as consistency cards go, there are 3 Nest Ball, 2 Buddy Buddy Poffin, and 2 Ultra Ball. Now, some decks play up to 4 Nest Ball, up to 4 Buddy Buddy Poffin, and 4 Ultra Ball, but you are basically being handed a package of almost all those pieces already. You have 3 of your 4 Nest Balls, 2 of your 4 Buddy Poffins, and 2 of your 4 Ultra Bars. Now, every deck does not play 4 of those consistency cards. Some decks mix and match, where some are like 4 Nest Ball, 1 Poffin, 2 Ultra Ball. Some decks are like 4 Poffin, 1 Nest Ball, like 1 Ultra Ball. Like, it's a hodgepodge of consistency, but those 3 ball search cards make up the entire premise of the Pokemon TCG right now in the competitive aspect. So having the big grip of those is very important. 2 copies of Night Stretcher, a card that is also currently valued at like $2 to $3. A card that's pretty much almost in every single Pokemon TCG deck right now. Just a great recovery option. Very, very cool that they put this in here, because that is one of the cards that's going to be a little more difficult and a little more expensive to get. And I want to say a little bit more expensive. I mean, these decks are still not very expensive, and Pokemon competitive is not very expensive in general. You can get a tier 1 competitive deck for like less than 60, 70 bucks. And most of those pieces are interchangeable, like I mentioned here, like the Lilies, the Stretcher, like those pieces, the Nest Ball, the Ultra Ball, the Poffins, like these are interchangeable in every competitive Pokemon TCG deck. So having the pieces for that is very useful as well. You have 2 copies of Switch, and 2 copies of Candy. Candy can go into those stage 2 decks quite easily, and Switch can, be used if you want to. 1 copy of Mega Signal. As Megas get more prevalent, this card will be more popular. 1 copy of Pokegear, just a useful way to, look for supporters in other ways you wouldn't. 2 copies of Punk Helmet and 2 copies of Risk Runes. These cards are like not too amazing here, but the Risky Runes could be seeing some play down the line, so it's one of those things. So now that we looked at the list, let's look at some Mega Gengar decks that have been performing well over in Japan in the Phantasmal Flames format. The first one I'll look at is this Mega Gengar Zoroark deck. Now there is 3-2-3 Mega Gengar in this, so we have a little bit more than the required Gengar, but let's just say you don't have that third Gengar. You can always chop this down and put another Dark-type Pokemon in, put another Lily's Determination in, and you have all these support cards. You have the Gengar line immediately. Now you just have to pick up some Zoroarks and pick up the Monkey Dory line. Basically, we're acting as a support engine to say that our Zoroark deck now becomes a 1-prize Zoroark deck. So now we can start swinging earlier on with Night Joker copying the Virtuous Rage, or using Powerful Rage, and we can just get really aggressive with it. Our Pheasantipity support card now is only a 1-prizer. Our Petrant is only a 1-prizer. We have cards like Janine's Secret Art to get the energies out of the deck. That being said, 2 of the Arvins that we need are in there in the battle deck. 1 of the Ionos we need is in there. All 4 of the Lily's Determination are in here. Both bosses' orders. We don't have any Janines that are given to us, but we have a couple of Poffins, a couple of Nest Balls. No Super Odd, no Counter Catcher. These cards are something you have to procure on your own. They're something that's going to be very important, though, for most competitive TCG decks. Counter Catcher is in almost every deck. And something that these decks don't actually have is A-Specs. There's no actual A-Specs in these upcoming decks, because the mechanic is not A-Spec in this format. So you see here that the A-Spec is Hero's Cape. So that's something you might have to pick up as well. But you see we've got the Candy, the Stretcher, Vessel, something you got to pick up. But for the most part, most of the competitively viable deck is already existent in this deck list. Now, another list I want to look at here is Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl is one that is the main attacker here. Then as a side attacker, we have the Gengar coming in. This basically gives us the Gengar line we need, the 2-1-2. Then we have all, again, the supporter bulk, the Poffins, the Ultra Ball. All of this bulk supporter stuff is already included in our package. Now, not having a Pheasantipity is a little bit annoying, because that is one of the more expensive cards in the Pokemon TCG right now. Same with Secret Box. So these Secret Box plus Fez are used in virtually almost every deck. This makes up a bulk of the lion's share of what you're going to buy when it comes to a competitive TCG deck. But otherwise, everything else is pretty much here. So my assessment of the Mega Gengar deck is that it is a buy if you need it. I think this will give you a lot of the bulk stuff you need. It will give you the Gengars you need. And I'm pretty confident that this Haunter promo itself will probably make you your money back if you are someone who's concerned about that. I would buy these things at like Targets, Walmarts, whatever, like big box stores you can. I would not pay over MSRP for this product. But that's how you can upgrade your battle deck and get it to the Pokemon TCG competitively.